Good morning, children. So far, I can see only 43 students are there. So just I need to tell you in advance that is, I have already given the question answers of the previous chapter. That is, when you come to the school without doing the work, if anyone comes, you will not be allowed to sit in the class. You know, the last year, those who have not completed the work, so their result has been stopped. So do not fall into the trouble. So every day that you finish your work and complete your copy work and all, otherwise your result will be withheld, stop. You will not get the result, and again you will be asked to complete the work. Then only you will get the result. So do not get into unnecessary things and all. So do the work on time. So now you have, the 3 4 days you had the holidays. Most probably coming, that is maybe I do not know, but my calculation, Thursday onwards again we'll get for 3 4 days holidays because of Good Friday, Monday, Thursday, and all, Easter and all. So complete your work. Now I will finish this chapter today and tomorrow, and today most probably I will be sending the question answers also. So during this vacation time, you finish of the question answers too. Now I have finished till the page number 215, right hand side. That is the first paragraph. So here the rule of law, that the point which I discussed was the last one, was the rule of law. Rule of law means that is no one is above the law. So every person, whether you are a prime minister or president, or you are a doctor or a lawyer or a judge, or you are a beggar, whoever it is, you are not above the law. You need to follow the rule, and you are supposed to follow the rule. That is known as the rule of law. So again, that is the page number, that is 215. Last left hand side, last paragraph, last sentence. Rule of law implies that no one is above law. This regulates the power of government and also stress that everyone is equal before law. Thus, democracy and the rule of law they complement each other. So you understood what is the meaning of rule of law. Now, the term constitution comes from the Latin word constitutio that we discussed yesterday also, which means or that is an order or anything settled upon arrangement. So here this answer comes Stephen also. In a context of nation, what do you mean by constitution? On the basis of the nation. So it refers specifically to a body of body of rules, regulations, and provisions that define the fundamental political principle and outline the structure, procedure, powers, and duties of the government. So when we talk about a constitution for the nation, this is the answer. This is a question number C1, first answer to. This I have explained on the previous class. Now, come to the next one. Almost all independent countries in the world today, where democracy, monarchy, or an other form of government exists, have their own constitution. Whatever the government that exists in the world, it doesn't mean that constitution is only that is followed by that's only democracy is following constitution. Maybe that the king, maybe that is the monarch, whoever it is, they have their own constitution. The constitution of India was framed after India was witnessed around 200 years of colonial rule. Not the 200 years, more than 200 years we were under the colonial rule. And what we suffered during the colonial period, what was the problem that we faced? Based on all those sufferings, that the limitations, problem, expectations, aims of the people, based on all those things, we made the constitution. So here, the freedom struggle, the nation movement, partition of the country, and spread of communal violence were foremost in the minds of the leaders in the independent country. So when we made the constitution, so we had this in our mind. We were under the Britishers for more than 200 years, and the partition has been taken, communal rights, and so many issues we had. Based on this one, how can we go ahead smoothly? And accordingly, they made the constitution. The last paragraph. What is the aim of the constitution? The main aim was to give an Indian constitution which would fulfill the cherished ideals of the people of this country and establish democratic society. Why that we made a constitution? So we need to follow a proper democratic ideals in which people will be cherished. The ideals of the democracy will be cherished. Happy. People will be happy to follow democracy. I told you, rule of law. So whether you are a beggar or the president of India, you are equal before law. You are equal before law. Understood? So the constitution is made in such a way. The aim of the constitution, that is, it is the which would fulfill the cherished ideals of the people of this country. The aim of the country will be fulfilled, and we will follow the democratic idea. That is the aim of our constitution. After independence, page number 216, after the independence, it was necessary to imbibe. Imbibe means absorb the ideals that inspired the freedom movement as the guiding principle for of the newly independent nation. You know, agar British log nahi aaya, we would have been in different countries. Britishers conquered many areas and they put under their country. And all those people who have a different language, different culture, all together they came forward and united and fought against the Britishers. And those ideas, the idea of coming together, idea to stay together, idea to be one, to be in one country. So those ideas will be cherished, and that principle will be, that idea will be given more importance than anything else. Though we are in a different countries, we are in a different language, then we all are together because Britishers came, and now we are united, and we want to continue with unity. Hence, the drafting committee of the Constitution Assembly was formed to frame the Indian Constitution. So, what was the main aim? So, we need to have a unity, though we have a different language, culture, religion, and all. We need to bring all these people together. That was the main principle of democracy. Now, next one. Why do we need a constitution? There is a question behind. So, we have just completed that almost except one or two questions in the C part. That is now the one more question in the C part. It is there. Why do we need a constitution? So I would like to take your attention this paragraph from the top. One, two, three, four, fifth line. Fifth line end. Fifth line end. Look at this one. It is, why do we need a constitution? What constitution does? It is the constitution that defines the role and powers of the people. So the constitution refers what is your role, what is your powers, and what is the power of elected representative, and what is the power of the members of the parliament, what is the power of the state legislative assembly. So this constitution clearly designed what is my right, what is my duty, what is your right, what is your duty. Being a teacher, what is my duty? You are being a businessman, what is your duty? Being a doctor, what is your duty? And what is your rights? So, and being an MLA, what is your duty? Being an MP, what is your duty? Everything has been clearly mentioned in this one. So now, also it is on the basis of guidelines mentioned in the constitution that any democratic government frames the law for the different purposes. And we have that is the introduction of the constitution. There are certain points are there. Page number 216. Okay. So there are certain aims are there. Our constitution is completely based on the basic principle which is mentioned in the constitution. And now the constitution says what is the duty of all the citizen. What is the right of the citizen? You may be a ruler, you may be in the part of government, you may be an MP or MLA, you may be a doctor, advocate, teacher, whoever it is. The constitution clearly mentioned what is your role, what is your duty, what is your right. Now come to the why do you need the first paragraph. Again, in a democracy like ours, people are the center of political power and representatives of elected by them rule only to serve their interest. So in democracy, who is holding the highest power? People, me, you. So I have the power. One vote is in me, and I have give this vote. I select this person. If I am not happy with this person after 5 years when they come, I will not give. I say you come back. We are not happy with it. So the ultimate power is with the people. So and the government now does this one. In this situation, the constitution plays a crucial role in the proper functioning of democratic government. Now, again, what we studied, we are reading. It is a constitution that defines the role and powers of the people's elected representative. जो लोग elected हुआ है MP और MLA council जो भी हो उनके power के बारे में constitution clearly says. The members of parliament and the state legislative assemblies also, it is on the basis of guidelines mentioned on the constitution. So there are certain guidelines have been mentioned in the constitution. हमारा constitution किस principle के ऊपर based है? So and all those rights and duties are mentioned based on those principles. Now, in the constitution that may democratic government frames the laws for the different purpose. Now, major functions of the democracy. So here this is an answer there, then the D part also, that is the purpose of our constitution. Now let us study. So the Indian constitution serves different purposes. Let us discuss some of the important functions of the constitution. Listen carefully. I'll say only one time because today and tomorrow I need to finish. I'll give the question answer most probably today itself. It lays out certain ideals or principle that determine the structure, nature, and duties of the government in the country. Constitution says the structure of our country, nature of the country. The Constitution clearly mentioned the structure of the government, the nature of the government, the duties of the government clearly mentioned in the Constitution. जो भी प्राइम मिनिस्टर हो, प्रेसिडेंट हो, एमएलए हो, एमपी हो, मिनिस्टर हो, what all those people, what they are supposed to do, that is clearly mentioned in the constitution. No one can break the constitution. Its second point, it helps to serve as a set of rules and the principle that everybody that respects and abides by. Now, it is not that for the prime minister or the president or the MLAs or MP or the minister. It is there for me also. It is there for you also. It is there for your father and mother also. We cannot do the way that they want. There are certain guidelines have been mentioned in our country. That is not as the principle. I need to set my life according to this one. ये ऐसे नहीं है मैं तो जो गुंडागिरी कर सकता किसी के ऊपर नहीं तो मैं financial fraud कर सकता है तो नहीं. So there are certain rules have been mentioned and I, you, your parents, everyone has to follow this guideline. So no one will have the problem. Well, one thing you need to understand, my freedom stops when your freedom starts. Your freedom your freedom stops when my freedom starts. So we need to understand. Now the third point, our country has a different communities of the people who belongs to the diverse religion. हमारे कंट्री में अलग अलग रिलीजन के पीपल भी हैं and economic and the cultural background. We have a different religion people, culture people, and economic background. Some people are rich, some people are poor, some people are Hindus, some people are Muslims, and the Christians like that. And their culture are different. They may not necessarily agree on every issue. There are certain issues. It is not possible to get the consent of everyone. But what we follow, a thing which can be good for everyone. A thing which can be good for everyone. They may not be necessarily agree on every issue. Therefore, our constitution helps us to serve as a set of rules and principles for everybody. So, ऐसे तो नहीं है. So, being a Christian, that is, I have maybe some kind of particular agenda. Being a Hindu, I may have some particular agenda. Being a Muslim, I have some particular agenda. That is all this one. Being a Hindu or a Muslim or a Sikh or a Christian, it will not work. The constitution has made that is what is good for the country and what is good for irrespective of my religion, Hinduism or Buddhism, Christianity or what Muslimism, what is good for the country, what is good for the people. Based on that one, constitution is made. Therefore, the constitution helps to serve a set of rules and the principle for everybody. Our constitution contains a rule to prevent the domination of the majority over the minority. You need to understand, democracy is not the form of government, not the form of majority. For example, you got a mark in SST, you got 80 marks in 100. You got a very good mark, a distinction, 80% mark, correct? Very good mark you got. But there is another meaning in the child whom we say that is the distinction. He knows only 80% answer, 20% answer he doesn't know. And we follow the principle in democracy. If we follow the desire of 60%, if that means 40% we are ignoring, that is not democracy. If you are following 70% and ignoring 30%. That is not democracy. If you are following 90 percentage people's wish in our country, and that means we are ignoring 10 percentage. That is not democracy. The democracy is not the government of majoritarian people. That is called majoritarian form of government. That is not democracy. So the democracy, if majoritarian form of government is followed, then democracy will not work. So democracy is a form of government where there is 99.9 percentage people are accommodated. And democracy, we need to make any decision, any government or any body, they should make a decision which would be accepted by 99 percentage, not 80 percentage. Then it is a majoritarian form of government. Then that is not a democratic government. It ensures that. So, and if you follow this one, if they follow the majoritarian form of government, they may try to suppress the minority people. So that is not democracy. It ensures that the interests of the minorities are not neglected. In democracy, we need to follow, always remember, that is, we should never neglect the wish and the idea or the problem of minority neglected. The Indian Constitution guarantees the right to equality for all citizens. Whatever you are, whether you are a male or a female, whether you are a rich or a poor, whether you are a farmer or a government employee, all people are equal before law. No citizen can be discriminated against the grounds of religion, race, caste. So you are a Hindu, you are a Muslim. So no, you are a girl or you are a female. No, you are the South Indian, you are a North Indian, you are a East Indian. No grounds. You cannot be. You will not be isolated based on any this kind. And the Constitution make it guaranteed. Understood? Now, last point. Our Constitution defines the nature of the country's political system. हमारा Constitution में we clearly mention what kind of government we are following. It serves the purpose of providing guidelines that govern decision making. So it explains, serves the purpose of providing guidelines. So we have been given guidelines in the Constitution, and the purpose is also clearly mentioned. It serves the purpose of providing guidelines that govern decision making. In the Constitution, the powers of state, the center are clearly defined. There are very clear limits for both when it comes to the making law. This point, when you come to the 10th standard, you will study more. So we are under the three government. I am under the state government. Sorry, I am under central government. I am under the state government. I am under the municipal corporation. So look, basically, if you see, I am under the three government. One is under Modi, under the Kejriwal, under the local self-government municipality. So now, how can I be under the three government? Yes, everywhere. What is the role on central government? That is clearly mentioned in the union list. Constitution will cover. What is the role of state government? That is also clearly mentioned. What is the role of municipal corporation? This is local government. That is also clearly mentioned. So even though I am under the three government, it will not negatively affect me. So because everything has been clearly mentioned. So that is in the Constitution, the powers of state government, central government are clearly defined. So there cannot be any conflict. And अगर कोई conflict है, अगर state के बीच में conflict है, or central government or state government, yesterday there was a complaint by the state government. What is that? So the Delhi is badly affected state. The central government has not given any money, any financial help to Delhi. Other state they have given. So that was the complaint made by the state government. So this is a conflict between the central government and the state government. Now this issue, how it can be settled? Because the central government cannot isolate, or this one, there be some reason. And if the state government is not happy, they can have an argument. They can even go to the judiciary and ask, Delhi also, the integral part of India, and they also should get the consideration or the financial help from the central government like other state gets. So this issue also can be settled in the judiciary. Now these things are clear to you now? Now, the law of the dissent. What do you mean by law of dissent? Suppose if these laws are there and I am not happy with it, then I can tell, so I am not happy with this, I can protest. That is the reason when you go to the Parliament Street, there are many people, they come and protest, Ingulab, Sindaba. There are people not happy with it. So there also what happened? So they can protest the government. So those people, many times the laws of dissent, that from the bottom, one, two, three, third line. Many times, such protesters have brought great changes in the law. The people who are not happy with this law, when they protest, and the government understand, government, for example, CAA, Citizen Amendment Act. Now some people are protesting. Now the government understands some people are not happy with it. So what can be done? So the government may think of it what can be done in order to accommodate those people also, and they may make some changes. So those people who are dissent, those people who are not happy with the law made, so they also have contributed a lot to change the law. Now come to the paragraph. In a democracy, law are made for the people's welfare and benefit. Understood why the law is made? It is for the welfare and the benefit of the people. The people interest is always be taken onto account. Whenever they make the law, they always consider the benefit of the law. And if they go by majority, I told you in the last time, it is not the form of democracy. And if the laws do not reflect the interest of the people, then people have the right to protest against them. And if the government goes any decision based on the majoritarian idea or any other this one that is wrong, and the people have the right to protest, and they may protest, and the government may rethink of it. Now, Vernacular Act. What do you mean by Vernacular Press Act? So here, what happened when the government, the vernacular means local language. You just imagine or understand only this meaning, local language. When the British people were there, and in the Indian language, that's called the, for the timing we can call that is the local language. So they had the newspaper, and they published many things which is against the government, which the Britishers were not happy, and they made an act that is called Vernacular Press Act, that is in 1878, and they made the rule. So any people that is a local people, that's a vernacular language, whether it is a Hindi or Sanskrit or Urdu, any kind of newspaper, they cannot make any statement against the Britishers. That is known as the Vernacular Act 1878. Now listen. During the time of British rule, there were many laws against which the people expressed their dissent or the disagreement. There are many people who were not happy with the way that the Britishers were doing, and they protested their disagreement. One of them was how do they protest against the government? One of them was the Vernacular Press Act 1878. So they wrote against the Britishers. They protested against the Britishers through the newspaper. This law repressed repressed means suppressed the freedom of the vernacular press. According to the law that Britishers made in 1878, so the people, that is the people who are in the newspaper, they cannot publish anything against the British government. The Vernacular Press Act of 1878, the law repressed the freedom of the vernacular press. Under this law, the newspaper in the Indian language were to be censored for spreading rebellious information against the government. If any of these newspapers in the local language spread anything against Britishers, then that will be censored, cut, and the Britishers has to see this one only when they allow. Then only the paper can be this can be circulated. The Act ordered all Indian newspapers to submit their proof sheet before publication. The people who are in the field of the newspaper, before they publicize their copy for tomorrow, and suppose I am a new editor, I need to give the proof to the Britishers, and they will go through it. And if they are happy, then they allow. And if anything that which is against the Britishers, I will be asked to remove it. So now, under this act, many of the local papers were fined and their editors were jailed. Many editors, the people who are just censoring them, just controlling the news and all, they were jailed, and some of them were fined. All the prominent leaders of India condemned the act and demanded its immediate withdrawal. All the prominent leaders of Congress in India condemned. They said it is against the law of the country, and demanded its immediate withdrawal. The act was finally withdrawn after widespread protest. When everybody protested against it, what happened? That is finally this act was removed. Now the Salt Satyagraha. Another example of the dissent. So now we are talking about the dissent, how the people protest against the government. So another example of the dissent in the Salt Satyagraha of 1930. This was an act of protest against the decision of the British to impose the tax on the salt, which severely affected the poor. So British government wanted to increase the revenue, money, income. What they did, so they want to increase the tax. How can they increase the tax? The only one thing which is commonly used, whether they are rich or poor, commonly used, that is namak, sugar, that is salt. So they said the best way to increase the money, put the tax on the salt. And they made another law. So no one, local people, no one in India can make the salt. Only Britishers can make the salt. And now Britishers will deliver the packet, and they put a high tax on this so that they can get a good money on this. And this is what happened. Gandhiji ceremony, that is from Sabarmati Ashramam, and he went around 240 members by walk. He went to the, that is called Dandi, that is from the Dandi Ashramam, and then he went to the shore and violated this act by producing large publicly the salt. This is known as salt satyagraha. Now let us read it. So this act was the protest against the decision of the British to impose tax salt on which severely affected the poor. The Salt Act stated that salt manufacture was the British monopoly. Only the Britishers can make the salt. No one else can make, and they put a high tax on this one. Salt. In response to this, Mahatma Gandhi, along with his followers, marched from Sabarmati Ashram to Dandi, a Gujarat. Dandi is a coast. So that is to make salt. A large number of the supporters followed him in the historical Dandi March. From Sabarmati Ashramam, that is around 240 members, that is around 240 miles. He walked by, that is उन्होंने पैदल गया, and then after reaching the Dandi shore, and he ceremonially violated, broken the law of salt. And now this is called Dandi March. The Dandi March drew worldwide attention to the Indian independence movement through extensive newspaper coverage. When Gandhiji made this, the salt march, so this the entire world, all over the world, pura dunia mein newspaper had covered the Dandi March and the protest against the Britishers. This satyagraha against the salt tax continued for almost a year, ending Gandhi's release from the jail. And Gandhiji was arrested, and the people started making, people violated. It was a law made by the Britishers, and that is, they said no, we will not follow. People started making, and there was a high that is coverage all over the world also, and people started protesting against it. And finally, what happened? Gandhiji was released from the jail. So the chapter is over now. Just we can just only 3 minutes are left. Some of you are very particular about the time. Today itself, you find the answers, and if it is possible, I will just write. I will try to just send the answers today. It's possible. If it is possible, I will do this one, because I have marked certain question answers. You can mark only just few minutes are there, and if you are ready, we can mark certain question answers. Otherwise, I will send these answers. Okay, now you are very much particular about the time. Okay, for the best, I will send. Most probably, I'll send the answers today itself before 5 o'clock. Okay, and mark the answers tomorrow. We'll discuss the answer again. And Wednesday, that is Wednesday, there will be class, of course. And Thursday, I do not know. And do not keep your work pending. And if you keep your work pending, my dear children, you will not be allowed to enter into the class, and that your result will be with there. So many consequences. Abhi, you have enough time. Do the work on time. Have a good day. All the best.